Fasting is a period of spiritual reflection, and it is also a period of rejuvenating your body and resetting your body both physically and mentally. During fasting, the purpose of food is more about fueling and nourishing your body and lesser about indulging and overeating. However, many people faces many challenges when it comes to maintain a healthy diet during fasting. So today, me and Thasleena are going to explore what are the common challenges faced during this period, and we also provide some practical nutritional guidelines. Breaking the fasting with fruit juices are very common. So is it really recommended?
All right, so the reason why we go for fruit juices while we're breaking our fast is mostly because at this point we're very thirsty and we're really craving for something very refreshing. Now, fruits are a good water rich source and it's a great source of hydration. But the problem is when we're making fruit juices, the first thing we use very high sugary fruits for the fruit juices. And on top of it, we add more sugar to make it even sweeter. And then while we are extracting the juice, we take out most of the fiber or all of the fiber. All of these factors together causes a dramatic spike in your blood glucose level, and this too, consider that you have been in a fasting state for a very long period of time. While you are giving your body a glucose load with such kind of fruit juices with added sugar, it causes a very dramatic spike in your blood glucose levels. So now when I say blood glucose level, it might seem like this is only something that impacts people who have diabetes, but that's not true. This is considerable for everybody who does not have any diabetes or any such issues. This is applicable to everybody. Such blood glucose spikes is detrimental for your long term health, be it just for a period of a month.
Okay, so that is a great point about the impact of fruit juices on glucose metabolism. So what are the healthier options we can recommend other than fruit juices for breaking the fast?
So couple of things, small tweaks to what you usually do. One, instead of taking a fruit that is very high in sugar, you can go for low fructose fruits like pomegranate, green apple, pear, etc. And instead of completely extracting out all the fiber, you can retain half of the fiber and put it back in your juice. Um, yeah, so these are some of the options that you can go for.
So I think vegetable juices are also healthier options, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you can take refreshing veggies like cucumber. You can make a juice of cucumber, mint, lemon. You can also go for ashpot juice. You can even use lemon water with a pinch of salt instead of sugar. These are all good, healthier options.
Okay. So in addition to this point, can I add one more point? Like one of the key nutrient we compromise during this fasting hour is water. As we all know that water is one of the macronutrient our body requires. So how we can compensate it or how to ensure proper hydration during this fasting hours?
So 30 minutes after your iftar, you can resume your water intake. And then after that, keep sipping water every 15-20 minutes until half an hour before your bedtime. This will ensure that you're staying hydrated during this period of time. But it's true that you cannot exactly compensate your entire day's water intake in that few hours time. But this is something that you can practically do to stay hydrated, at least during that time.
So now we have covered the hydration part. So now let us talk about snacks. So snacks like samosa, cutlet, pakoras are the indispensable part of iftar meals. Okay, so is it really good or how we can incorporate snack as a part of healthy iftar meals?
So I know for a matter of fact that snacks is basically the identity of Ramadan. We really crave for snacks even while the month of Ramadan is approaching. So, and it's not something that everybody likes avoiding. People have heard a lot about, you have to avoid deep fried snacks as much as possible, but it's not that everybody likes to avoid because those are everybody's favorites. Now, what you can do here is this is not really true when you hear that you have to completely avoid snacks altogether during iftar. If you know how to snack or how to prepare your snacks in a healthier way, you can absolutely enjoy these in moderation. Generally, conventionally, when you're making snacks, be it samosas or pakoras or cutlets, whatever, we use a coating of maida or a batter of maida to fry it or to cover it. We use vegetable oils like sunflower oil to fry it. And the worst of all, we tend to retain the oil that the snack was fried in and then use it the next day for the next day's meals. Small tweaks to these things. For example, coat it with a batter of besan flour. If you can coat your pakodas and bhajis in besan flour instead of maida, that is a healthier option. Use a small amount of coconut oil instead of using a lot of vegetable oil. Shallow fry in coconut oil and do it in low or medium flame. And then do not retain the oil, discard it immediately because this is trans fat. This is detrimental for your health, so discard it immediately. So if you keep these things in mind and make your snacks, you can enjoy your pakoras, bhajis, any fried foods in moderation, guilt free.
Okay. And instead of breadcrumbs, we can even use rice flakes, right? That is also a healthy alternative.
Exactly. When you're making cutlets and all of that, you can use that as well.
So that is a great tip for preparing healthy snacks for iftar meals. Okay, so now let us discuss about the meal, that is iftar. Okay, so what are the key elements or nutrients we need to prioritize or we need to focus to prepare a balanced nutritious plate?
So, just like drinking fruit juices for iftar while breaking your fast, because we're very thirsty during that time, we're also very hungry and we've not eaten the entire day. So, we've probably been anticipating this movement the whole day. Because of this, it's very easy to become mindless and binge eat. I'm also saying this in my experience as well. I have had experience, and I know people who have had experience where they've been literally uncomfortable after a meal because they have eaten so much to an extent where your body is just not able to digest. So, a good way to ensure that you're not overeating is to become a little bit more mindful when you're having any meal for that matter, not just your iftar. And also, another very important factor is we tend to overeat because we have a huge spread of snacks and a huge spread of food in front of us. So you just cannot control yourself in this situation. So it's important to make sure that you create a plate or a table per se that contains a lot of veggies when you're designing your plate or when you're curating your meal plate. Make sure half of it is filled with vegetables of whatever form you like. I'm not saying have salads for iftar, but vegetables in whatever form you like. It could be patties, it could be cutlets, whatever, or it could even be, roasted in some olive oil or ghee, whatever suits your taste best. And if you want, you can have some kind of whole grain and whole grain based dishes. You can also have a protein based dish so that you feel fulfilled and your body gets enough nutrition. So these are the some of the consideration you can keep in mind. Also, make sure when you're having your iftar, have your meal slowly, chew it well, chew it until it becomes liquid in your mouth. This will also ensure that you get the satiety signals from your brain more efficiently, and this will help ensure you prevent overeating.
That is an insightful thought. So when it comes to suhoor, the first meal of the day, we need to ensure we get proper nourishment throughout the day. So what are the things we need to prioritize for suhoor?
So, this is the meal with which you are starting your fast. So, as compared to iftar, when you're having a huge appetite, you could eat anything that is in front of you. When it comes to suhoor, generally appetite is lesser because you've probably just woken up. It's the middle of the night. It's too early. You're in a sleepy state. So, one thing is you do not have enough energy to prepare anything elaborate. Another thing is you want to have something that's very easily digestible and light. And the most important consideration is this is probably the most important meal of your day because this is the meal that is going to sustain you the entire coming day. So you have to keep in mind all of these things. And when you're considering these factors, Examples like smoothies with fruits, nuts and seeds, plant-based milk, or soups or porridges, khichdis, or if you want to go for something that's grain-based, a little bit heavier, you can go for dosa. You can go for rice with some veggies, things like that. So these are all easily digestible. It's light. It is generally easier to make if you go for smoothie, oats, and all of that, overnight oats, and all of that. And you have to always ensure these two nutrients are always there in your Suhoor meal. One is protein. This is going to provide your protein requirement for the entire day, or at least half of the day. And then making sure you're having enough healthy fats. Even a couple extra teaspoon of ghee or an extra serving of nuts and seeds can help make sure that you feel fuller for a longer period of time.
Okay, perfect. So staying active during this fasting period is sometimes be tricky. So how do you approach to stay active during this period? What is your thought or what is your recommendation?
In the fasting state, it's not really recommended to do any kind of intense cardiovascular or strength training exercises. Uh, but it is important to make sure that even though you're not actively engaging in any structured exercise routine, you have to be active and engaged throughout the day, because one of the most common complaint that we hear of after the Ramadan month is that because of prolonged inactivity, um, people come up with a lot of joint pains, lot of stiffness, muscle aches, etc., muscle twitches, etc. So this is basically because of the prolonged inactivity. You have to make sure that you're preventing it. So stay active during the day. Keep yourself active and engaged with some light work, not anything intense.
Just
uh,
like brisk walking, right?
yeah, exactly, right.
Okay, so is that the case when we can schedule the physical activity during this period? Either in the morning or in the evening, at what time or when we can schedule it?
So there are two time slots when you can ideally schedule your exercise routine. One is after your iftar meal, give yourself a break of half an hour or half an hour 45 minutes, and after that you can either hit the gym or you can do a home workout. Whatever you regularly do can be done during this period, because you're essentially not fasting at this time. And if you're very motivated, if you're very enthusiastic about exercise and you cannot find time during after the iftar period, you can try waking up 45 minutes earlier, before the suhoor meal, and then schedule a 30-minute time slot. During that time, do your exercise routine, whatever your regular exercise routine is, and have your suhoor as your post workout meal. The second option is not very practical, because there we're also compromising a bit on our sleep. If you can go for the first option, that would be the most ideal. Another very important consideration during or before Ramadan period is if you are on any medications, be it for diabetes or blood pressure or thyroid related disorders or any medication that needs to be taken on a long term, make sure you are consulting your physician before this period of fasting, and then adjust your dosage and timing of medications according to your meal timings. This is a very important step that should not be forgotten before you step into the month of fasting. So essentially, when you look at it, the month of fasting, what we're really doing is we're just uh, rescheduling our time of breakfast and dinner, and maybe skipping our lunch. We're fasting during that period. So your breakfast is your suhoor meal, which is taken a bit earlier than your usual time, a lot earlier than your usual time actually, and your dinner is your iftar meal. So you can make sure that you're winding up your day's food intake by iftar, and not view iftar as a pre-meal before your dinner. You can consider iftar as your dinner itself. And this way, if you can make small adjustments and small tweaks in your regular dietary routine during Ramadan, you can have a very healthy, a very enjoyable iftar and suhoor and Ramadan all over, without worrying much about how will you take your health forward during this period.